Ned head on the left, Nico weight on the right. Learn how to make these in this video, right from pouring to powder coating, wiring, epoxying. It's all in there. Some great tips to get what you want, when you want, and the amount you want. Both of these are produced from the same do-it mold. The video only shows the pouring of the Nico weight, but the process for the Ned head is exactly the same, except you put a hook in instead of the wire. Well, Don, I'm not sure whether we should really be showing this one or not, but let's go for it.
I know the taco company is going to hate me for this.
Yeah.
But this is the best Nico weight that you can possibly make. I mean, we've used stuff, we've bought them, but we go, okay, we got to, make a better system than what they have out there, and yeah. I think we've got it pretty much dialed in.
Yeah, it's definitely a pretty slick system. So basically, you got a little wire there. You've put a little kink in the end.
Right. This is anywhere from 30 to 35 thou wire, stainless steel wire, and we just take this is a mushroom head, or this is a worm nose head.
And you could also use the Ned head,
Ned rig head.
So it's basically making a Nico head, right?
Right. All I do is take the wire, I put a piece of tape on here to keep the wire from sliding up and down.
So when he goes to pour, it's going to go vertical, and then the wire would slide down. So the tape is going to hold the wire in place so that the lead bonds to it.
Right, because what would happen is this wire would slide to the bottom of your jig and just fall out. You want to center that wire in the center of your jig if you're pouring it.
I'm going to clamp it up. I'm going to pour it as usual, let it cool down. Open it up. Remember, again, always the lead's hot. Use your pliers. And again, you got to let it dry. And Don, you got a finished one there.
Yeah.
So that one is, correct me if I'm wrong, 3/8 of an ounce.
3/8 of an ounce. Nobody makes one this heavy that I'm aware of.
Exactly.
We fish Lake Erie and some deeper water lakes, and you need that to get down to where those fish are.
And I'm also thinking that a little largemouth application in there too.
Oh, for punching, yes.
Yeah, awesome. Like we've got a little finishing work to do on those, but we'll show you that
how we
later.
Finish them off. Yeah.
All right, great little Nico heads for sure. All right, so we are taking one of these heavier Nico weights, and we're going to take a little pair of snips, and we're going to snip it off there. And
drop it on the floor.
Yes, we're not supposed to do that, right, Don? So, and then there's a little piece of the eye there. Going to take that off. I have a little cup here. And put that in there. And that's basically ready for the next step. Now we have to file this, and we are going to be a little more careful filing because there's going to be some powder coating. So as I'm filing, I take a good grip. And basically you need to file it at the top and file in one direction only. And when you are filing now, you can actually get a bit of a flat surface on the head, which is going to help it stand up a little bit more. And just need to touch up this little spot on the side where the actual eye of the hook would normally go. And that's cleaned up, ready for powder coating. So here is the mushroom head mold that Don is using. You can see where the tape is. Shows you what size hooks you can use on it as well. So that is one style. This is the Ned head Midwestern mold, I believe it's called. And you can see that it's got various sizes, a little flatter head. Good choice for a Nico rig. So Don's got the wire inserted in there. So let's close her up and let's see how this one pours, Don. Again, always let it cool down. Don't want to burn yourself.
There she is.
And just a little lower there, Don, closer to the camera. So there you can see that. It's poured in there. And we're going to let it cool down, and we'll come back and we'll show you what it's like once it's broken off. Here's a close-up of the poured Nico head before being trimmed. Here's the original piece of wire Don was using and taping in there, but as anything, as you continue on, you learn to do things a little bit better. So here's the modification. By putting a significant bend, it is going to sit now in the mold. All right, Don, you have some wire to bend for the Neko rigs. It would be pretty tough with a pair of needle nose pliers, so you got a little tool there. Can you explain where you got that and how to use it, please?
Yeah, they're commercially available. You can buy them at taco builders, supply companies. My buddy Lou, who's a very good machinist, millwright, actually made this for me. And anybody that's made spinner baits or buzz baits, it's a wire bender, and it's just this one's just homemade. That's all. All I do is I take the wire, put it at the in between the two eyes, slowly bend it, and that's simply it.
That's pretty cool. All right, Don, now you need to cut that wire, right, to size?
Right, I just leave it a little bit longer than I need to. I can cut it when I'm tying on my wire later. I keep it about 2-3 inches. Snip it and put it in the pile for pouring.
Awesome. Great tips. So now, instead of using the tape, the hooked wire will now sit on the bottom of the mold when it goes vertically, and therefore no need for the tape anymore. Great idea, Don. Well done. Here's 3 Neko heads that Don has poured, and they're basically ready to be broken off and cleaned up before painting. Then we'll show you how that's done. All right, Don, show us how you polish those up. Just breaking it off, trimming it up, and a little filing work on that. And just again, let me just move that, there we go. And just files over the pot again. And then once that's done, basically it's ready to be painted, and then we have one final step before that's going to be
something
ready.
that came to me in a dream.
Yes, definitely a great idea. Well, there's our production of Neko heads, about 3 or 4 hours and probably about 200. So it's a wide selection, wide variety, and they're going to be off to the powder coating department and then off to the wiring department. As always, if you find the video helpful, enjoyable, a like, share, subscribe is always very much appreciated. Here's a poured Ned head that you can see the eye is covered and there's some flashing. So this needs definitely more cleaning than others. All cleaned up, ready for painting. In an earlier video on making Detroit River walleye jigs with powder coat, you saw that there was a heating time of about 15 seconds before dipping this 3/4 ounce jig into the fluid bath. With the Ned head, it is a 1/8 ounce jig shown here. You can adjust the time for heating before dipping in the fluid bath much shorter. All right, Don, let's show them that 3/8 ounce Neko weight that you poured earlier, and the powder coating process, whether it be for the Neko weight or Ned rig, is the same.
Right. We're just going to heat these up on the heat gun here. Warm it up. It takes a little bit longer. The bigger the size, the longer it takes for that lead to get the temperature to accept the powder coat. And heat it up.
And dipping it in that
Dip
fluid
it in,
bath.
and I just go over top it with the heat gun again. And then I stick it in my little jig here.
Yeah, that aluminum holder is very handy because you can't hook them on the rack like you traditionally would.
No.
Awesome. Well done, Don.
Thanks.
The Neko weights are baking in the oven. They are in little aluminum pieces that have holes drilled in to hold the weights. They are currently baking at 350 degrees for 15 minutes. All right, here we go. To bend the wire, I simply take my wire cutters and I simply measure out 1 inch, and I take it to a little piece of styrofoam, push it in, snap it off, and then just repeat the process, and that's lining my wire up before I bend them. All right, we have a tray full of wires here that are cut. Now let's bend it. So basically I just take a little pair of needle nose pliers and I just bend it about halfway, and just enough to put a kink in. I pinch it together with my fingers and then just basically squeeze it together, and you have a barb that looks like that will be tied on. Once you have the barb, you simply are going to take it and you're going to put it back into the styrofoam, and that way it's quick and easy access when you go to tie it on. Any kind of tying flies, bucktails, you have to start with a basic threading technique. And so this is a 6/0 thread that I am using, and I'm just going to lay it over the line in approximately the position that I want my barb to go. I am going to hold the tag end down, and I am going to wrap towards the back, and I am basically taking that tag end and I am trapping it. Once I have the tag end trapped, I am going to take the excess and I am going to snip that off. And that is how you start any basic tying technique. A special thank you to Vince Castellano for showing me in my 20s how to tie on thread and tie bucktails, and I've used that skill with many different applications over the years. So once again, a very special thank you to Vince. Dawn mentioned earlier in the video about having an aha moment in the middle of the night. Dawn realized that he needed a barb system for the Neko weights, and he was trying to come up with a different idea and something that would work. And then he thought about some wire that he and Lou used to make some panfish spinnerbaits. And that is how the wire barbs were evolved into this technique, and it has worked very well for us. So basically now what we're going to do is we're going to take the barb, and I've already got my thread started, and I am going to place the wire so that there is one piece of the wire on each side of the Neko weight wire, and then I'm just going to loosely wrap it to get it into place. And I might have to fiddle with it a little bit, and there I like where it is. So I loosely wrap, get it in place. Once it's there and starts to lock in, then I start to tighten up. And now I'm going to go from the Neko weight to the back, and I am going to slow down a little bit when I get to the base of the wire, because there is a little lip from the Neko weight wire to the wire that is on there. So I'm going to loosely wrap there, and what I'm trying to do is build up a base layer, and what I want to do is actually create a little taper so that the plastic will slide up and over that easily. Once I have the taper there, I do a quick wrap to the front and a quick wrap to the back again, and now I'm going to take and start to finish it off. I take some excess thread and I make a loop and I flip it over. I go over the head of the Neko weight and I am sliding it tight at the base of my thread, and I pull once and then I make another one, once again going over the head of the Neko weight, put it in place, pull it tight, and then for my final one I am going to do it twice. And now I slowly pull it up, just making sure that it pulls up nice and snug and cinches up. And once I have that in place, then it's nice having a rotary vise because you can spin it around. And I snip this one into place, and that is now ready for epoxying. And I will put it to the side and continue on. I do love my Regal vise that is a nice royal blue color, which is representative of my school, Hespeler Public School, and this was a gift from my colleagues at my retirement. So to my friends at Hespeler Public School, you will be happy to know that I use my vise all the time and I absolutely love it. So thank you again for that very kind and thoughtful gift when I retired. All right, so I am just stirring up the epoxy. It's just 2-part epoxy and you have to stir it up for 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to paint this on the threads of the wires that I tied on, and then I'm going to put them onto the rotisserie drying rack, which is a homemade item by Dawn and Lou again, and it works great and it avoids any dripping of the epoxy. So let's get her started. So basically just taking a little brush and just a little tiny bit of epoxy. You don't want to have too much epoxy. You just want to get a quick covering on there. All you're trying to do is make sure that the threads don't unravel. It's just a seal. And then once you've got that done, And you are going to take a pair of pliers. The rotisserie is on right now, so basically I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to spin it into position. I'm going to push in the weight, and the centrifugal force will avoid it from dripping. Well, everything is now epoxied and it is on the rotisserie where we'll let it go overnight so that it dries without any drips. And these are just pushed in with the wire. The wire will have to be cut later. You can see there's one Ned weight on there that is just basically hooked into it, and it's coming around right there. The final preparation to get these Neko weights finished is using the side cutters to snip off the wire just below the threads, and taking the precision screwdriver and opening up the wires. You can see over here the wires are closed, so you just gotta pry them open and get them to approximately this angle, and you are good to go. Here are the finished Neko weights, and you can see that there are two different mold styles here and some different weights just to give us a variety for different applications. Keep our color selections minimal to green pumpkin and black, since they are bouncing along the bottom. Here we have a Neko rig setup, and there is a Neko style of hook. There is an O-ring here, the weight here, and this is a Berkley Power Bait General, and it fishes very much like a wacky rig worm, but stays more in contact with the bottom, as this will slide along as you bring it in. Here is the 3/8 ounce Neko weight that Don and I referred to for punching. And punching is a vertical presentation through the mats for the most part. So the bait is going to stand up really well. And it is also advantageous in the sense that the weight is on the bottom. So listen carefully. You can hear that weight tapping off the bottom. If there were any rocks, hard bottom area, that would be a trigger for the fish as the crayfish is clicking along the rocks. Also, with the weight on the bottom, the fish is going to inhale the bait, and the first thing that it is going to get in the mouth is the hook, since the weight is at the bottom out of the way, and that is also going to help put more fish in the boat. Making a buoyant bait such as a Berkley chigger craw is a very critical part of the presentation. Here's a sample of some finished Ned heads. On the right hand side you will see some smaller hooks. Over here we have a 1/8 hook, and it is on a small hook, which is for more finesse type presentations. Again, a smaller hook here for a 3/16. There's is another 1/8, so this is a 1/8 and this is a 1/8 here. But again, there are different tools for different jobs, right? So you can throw a bigger bait with this 2/0 hook here versus the finesse presentation with the size 1 hook. We also, over to the other side here, we go all the way up to 3/0 hooks for bigger baits. And the 1/4 ounce size here, 3/16, 1/8, 3/16, 1/8. Once again, customizing the tools for the job is the best way to get it done properly and effectively. Powder coating is a very durable finish, and once again, with customizing, you can select the hook of your choice to get a hook that meets your standards. This is a Mustad hook here, Ultra Point, which does a great job of keeping its point, so I enjoy using those hooks personally. Here's a different perspective on those same 5 Ned heads, and you can see that they are standing up on their own. If you put a piece of floating plastic on there, such as a Berkley power bait, they will stand up tantalizingly in front of the fish and trigger lots of strikes. One more quick angle for you to see that the Neds will actually stand up on their own without the buoyant piece of plastic, which obviously the piece of plastic floating is going to enhance the stand-up capability of these jigs. The Berkley Power Bait Cash Out is a bait that floats, and therefore it is an excellent choice for a Ned rig. Here is the side view looking at the Power Bait Cash Out standing up on the Ned head. Here's a top view showing the Ned rig with the Cash Out standing up. It takes time to make a quality product, but it is well worth it in the end, and the price is right. Thank you for watching. We hope you found the video enjoyable and helpful. And as always, a like, share, subscribe is very much appreciated. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.